Welcome to the Vintage Key Holder Kit tutorial. Step 1. Casting application. First thing you need to do is apply your resin casting onto the wood panel. Lay your wood panel straight, apply super glue onto the back of the ornate casting and pop it onto the top of the panel, leaving a little bit more space on the bottom for hooks. Feel free to use a ruler and mark out placement beforehand if you would like to. Once in place, press it down firmly with your hands and leave to set and dry for a couple of minutes. Step 2. Paint everything grey. Using the bigger brush out of your kit, apply one coat of grey paint all over the plaque. You can do the front and the back or choose to do only the front. That is up to you. Pay a little extra attention when painting the ornate casting and try to get into all dips and holes, but try not to apply your paint too thickly or leave blobs of paint. Once you're done painting, wash your brush with dish soap under a running tap and pat dry with a paper towel. Leave it to the side, you will need it later. Step 3. Sand. Once you've applied your first coat of paint, you may notice some more texture on some parts of your wooden plaque. That is a perfectly normal thing to happen when wood comes into contact with water-based products. Find the piece of 240 grit sandpaper in your kit and give everything a light sand until it feels smooth to touch. You might want to keep a dust cloth or a hoover ready to pick up any mess from this. And don't bin your sandpaper, you will need it later. Step 4. Prep for the stress. Get your little wax piece out of your kit. I did not have a fancy one when I recorded this, so I used a tea light instead. Gently rub your piece of wax over the edges. This will make it easier to uncover the grey paint once we paint over it. The more wax you apply, the more distressed it will be. You can go in and put some on the flat bits around the casting and edges and the back if you chose to paint it. Step 5. White paint. Pick up a small amount of white paint with the bigger brush that you used earlier and start gently brushing it over the ornate casting. Go steady. It is better to have to go over it twice than to try to wipe away too much paint. You don't need to cover the whole casting, just the tops. Right now you are creating highlights, so inside of the mold should stay darker with grey paint. Personally, I am more heavy-handed by nature and usually end up going for more is more look. Yours could be more delicate, and the main thing is that there is no wrong way to do it. Once you're happy with the molding, start applying white paint onto the rest of the plaque. If you can, try to keep all of your brush strokes in the same direction. Apply 2 coats of white paint over the plaque, the front, the sides and the back if you chose to paint it. However, if you like a more distressed look, feel free to only do 1 coat of white. This will allow more grey to come through in the next step. Note that the white paint that you're using is chalk paint, so you may get quite a bit of paint texture coming through, which is perfect for a distressed look. Step 6. Distressing. Once white paint is dry, and feel free to use a hairdryer on a cool setting to help it dry if you need to, grab your 240 grit sandpaper again and start sanding back white paint. Make sure you open a window when you do this and take extra precautions like cover your eyes and nose if you have any health conditions that are affected by fine dust. Go over all of the areas that you covered with wax earlier, uncovering grey paint underneath, and create a natural distressed look. Once again, there is no right or wrong time to stop this process. I recommend taking a step back every now and then and reassess if you're happy with the amount of wear and tear, if one side needs a little bit more, if there's any scratches that need polishing out, and so on. Take your time with this. There really is no right or wrong way. It's what feels right to you. And again, keep a hoover handy, as this part can get a little bit messy. I included an extra piece of sandpaper in the kit in case if the first one gets gunked up too soon. Step 7. Metallic touches. Take one of the smaller brushes out of your kit and metallic paint. You only need a little bit, so pick up a little bit with your brush and scrape it off on the edge of the container. Then, using a very gentle hand, brush it over the tops of your ornate molding. Once you see no paint coming off of the brush onto the project, reapply it in the same way and keep repeating the process until you're happy with how shiny it is. Remember to try to only apply this paint over the top parts, leaving the edges so you can still see little bits of white and even grey paint peeking through. This painting technique that you just used is called dry brushing. Once you're done with metallic paint on your ornate casting, you can move on and apply a coat of this metallic paint onto the edge of your wood panel. It's okay if you get a little bit of paint onto the front and back. Simply smudge it out with your finger or lightly feather it out with your brush. Step 8. Clear wax. We're getting so close to the finish now. This is what your key or jewelry holder should look like now. It's time to seal it all with clear wax. Get your other little brush and clear wax out of the kit. Pick up a tiny bit of wax with your brush and start brushing it all over your project. A little bit of wax goes a long way. You should be able to tell the difference of where you did and didn't apply wax by touch. So run your hand across the project if you're not sure. And don't worry, this wax is not toxic and safe to touch for most people. Step 9. Black wax. Now, this step is optional, so I recommend skipping ahead a little bit to see what it does, to decide if you want to add a little bit more drama to your project. If you do, then come back here. If you don't, I'll see you in step 10. So, for the brave ones that decided to stay, using the same brush you just used for clear wax, pick up a tiny bit of black wax out of your container and start applying it onto your ornate molding. Make sure that you're working in small sections at a time. Start applying it over your ornate molding and make sure you get it into all crevices and openings as well as the edges. Once you've covered the small section of your casting, use the blue cloth out of your kit to wipe away the excess wax off of the top part of the molding and smoothen out edges and shadows around the edges. Take your time with this. Remember, patience is key. To add dark edges, take your blue cloth, wrap it around your finger, that is to protect your fingers from staining, and dip your now covered finger into black wax. Then, holding your finger at a 45-degree angle or thereabouts, start gently rubbing it across the tip of the edge. Start from the very edge and slowly creep in further, softening the black edge and smudging it out, giving it a smoky look. Step 10. Hardware. Now, let's add those hooks so your wooden plaque can transform into the holder of all things important that it was always meant to be. Your kit will come with 3 little hooks that are attached with screws. If you have a little screwdriver handy, use those to attach them. Alternatively, you can glue them on using super glue provided. First, grab your hooks and a pen or a pencil and mark out where you want your hooks to go. I usually eyeball mine, but feel free to get all technical and do it properly with a ruler. Mark out where your hooks will go and either glue them on or screw them in. And voila, you did it! You made it all by yourself and no one would ever know. You can now attach your hanging strips onto the back of the plaque and display it in your home. Or will it be a gift? Whichever one it will be, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, hope that you enjoyed creating this project and following along. If you did, please let me know via the comment section below this video or contact me on my website. There will be more kits and classes just like this one coming soon, and I have a whole library of slightly more advanced video classes available to watch on demand too. I am sending lots of love from my heart to yours, and keep creating.